I mean, over 60% of our deals, even like our multiple 5-figure deals, come from YouTube organic. I think good marketing is literally just reciprocated value. Most people are so afraid of burning their network, so they go to total strangers because they don't want to burn bridges. But it's so much easier if you just do it in your local network, and then if you f up, just give them their money back. I'll share something I've never shared on a podcast before.
Welcome back to the 4Media Uncut podcast. Today we have a very, very special guest, one that we've wanted on the podcast for a long time, Mr. Ravi Abuvala.
And it's pretty cool because Ravi actually flew in to speak at our event in Nashville. He's all the way from Miami. We're from Atlanta. We met up there and we got to shoot this podcast in Andrew's awesome bedroom podcast setup that we did. But Ravi has scaled an 8-figure company, literally working a very efficient schedule without having to put it in 60-hour weeks. And he's done so all from the internet. And he's probably actually made people tens of millions of dollars combined. And it's really cool to see this person and see how he runs his life, see the efficiency that he does it with. And also maybe sometimes the things that you have to give up in your personal life to be able to live that kind of business and monetary life that you want to live. So with that being said, enjoy the show.
We just started. Yeah, we're like in already at this point.
We're rolling. All right, cool. Yeah,
cool.
Let's do it.
Well, fucking thanks for being on the podcast, bro. I appreciate it. You're a busy ass dude. You're in and out of these cities, and you took the time this morning to get this done. So thank you so much, first of all.
Dude, I appreciate you guys having me here. This is a dope setup, and I had a blast yesterday. It was awesome event, and yeah, I'm excited for this podcast for sure.
Thanks, bro. So, look, some people probably know who you are. Some people probably don't. So, like, let's spend like 5 to 10 minutes going back, like
back,
like
shit,
like pre-law school back.
Okay,
or pre-law school.
Yeah, law school in quotes if you can, if you're listening to the audio version. Yeah, I'll keep it super tight. So, like, grew up wanting to be a lawyer. That was like always like what my parents wanted. I come from an Indian family, and like at least where I'm from, like you're either a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. Those are the 3 options. And so
I was gonna be a lawyer too. But
oh, really? Were you?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I even took the LSAT.
What'd you get on the LSAT?
30. I'm trying to think if these are the correct numbers.
No, that's not there. If you did 30, you'd be the fucking worst LSAT. I think you like if you don't write anything down, you get like 100.
What was the full score?
170 or 180 is the highest, I believe. 170 or 180.
Okay, then I probably scored like a 150. Like,
yeah, nice.
Like somewhere 150, there.
Yeah,
150 something. Because I got in everywhere I applied.
Oh, nice.
So
okay,
I just forgot what the scoring system was.
Yeah, it goes up to 180. 170 is in the top, I think. 8 percentile, and then anything above 175 is like just the top 1 percentile. Like if you get a 175, you're probably going to Harvard or Yale. I got a 168.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was in the top. I was in the top 10%.
He said I got a 168.
I was in the top 10%.
He's like, you're pretty much a god over 167. I got a 160.
Well, so that's the funny thing. So the whole life was going to be a lawyer, and I was really fortunate enough that like literally where I went to school, because I wanted to be a senator. That was like my original thing. I wanted to be like a lawyer and then a senator. And then I worked for the governor of Florida for a while. I went to Florida State, worked for the governor of Florida, realized very quickly I didn't want to work in politics. I realized the people that were really controlling this guy were the people that had money. It was like the lobbyists. So I was like, all right, I don't want to go into politics. I really want to be making money. And I thought that becoming a lawyer was a way to do that. And I was fortunate enough that my dad's neighbor, literally his full-time job was people from India, which where my dad's from, or like Japan or China, getting them prepared and into the top 3 to 5 law schools in the nation. So he was super nice to me, and is fortunate enough that he literally would consult me and be like, look, everyone fucks it up. You need to spend all of your time studying for the LSAT, because that's the biggest determining. Because I had a 4.0, I was in honors, like I did everything in the college.
So like, so does everyone else.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So like the biggest determining factor was, it's not extracurriculars, it's literally the LSAT. So I actually ended up deciding to take a year off to go study the LSATs and just do nothing but I worked, I'm from a beach town in Florida. And so I was like doing beach chairs every single day, like getting tan, working out, studying on the beach. It was a dream life. And like I had done that for the summers. So that was my plan. Like, cool, I'll just take a year off between college and law school, and I'll just study for the LSAT and I'll work on the beach. And the crazy thing that life throws at you is that 3 days after I graduated college, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And so I was like, I just moved all my shit from Florida State to Destin, Florida, which is my home, or not my hometown, but where I grew up. And then my dad lives in Atlanta, actually. And so I had to go up there, take care of him. And for the next year, I was doing chemo and radiation 5 days a week with him. And I was like waking up at 4, working out, chemo and radiation at the Cobb County Library, studying for the LSAT at Cobb County Library, going to take my dad to chemo and radiation, then back home, making him dinner, then studying until like 11, 12 o'clock at night. And long story short, after about a year, I was like starting to get a little skeptical if I actually wanted to be a lawyer. And I realized that up until that point, I had never actually fucking talked to a lawyer in my entire life. Like I had never asked a lawyer, is this a good profession to go into? Everybody I was taking advice from, my aunt, my dad,
we're all non-lawyers.
They're all non-lawyers.
Fuck, bro. I did the same
It's
shit.
so, and all of them wanted, and you know, it's no knock against them. They just wanted what was the best thing for me. You know what I mean? Like my mom and dad were entrepreneurs, but they lost a lot of it when the internet came out. So like, I think they were worried about that. And so like, it was nothing against them, but I realized, oh shit, maybe I should talk to a lawyer. And so I told my dad, and he's like, oh, don't worry. Like my best friend's a partner at this law firm, and he's probably taking home like, you know, 1.5, 2 million a year as his partner. And so he takes us to dinner, and he's like, so why do you want to be a lawyer? I was like, I don't know. I just like want to like make a lot of money. He's like, that's a stupid fucking reason to be a lawyer. And my dad's mouth just like drops on the table right there. Cause my dad had set us up so that this guy convinced me to be a lawyer. Yeah, exactly. And this guy's doing the exact opposite. And so we're like in the drive home. My dad's like, yeah, you misunderstood what he was saying. Like my dad's trying to justify it.
He knew what was coming at that point.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck.
And then I read an amazing book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And that was when I realized that like I would end up resenting my family and my dad for my entire life, because where I was going to go to law school, University of Chicago Law School, like that was, I think it's $250,000 for 3 years, and I have no money, and I just spent the past year taking care of my dad and studying, so I'm like 10 to 15 grand.
Is your
in
dad
debt.
okay now? Or
Yeah, I'm sorry. He is good. He has a clean bill of health. He's been in remission. I always forget to say that. Thank you for clearing that
No,
up.
it's
Yeah,
all
for the
good.
past
It
4
was
years.
on my mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Great
glad-
question.
glad
No,
to hear,
so
man.
grateful. I mean, the chance of survival is like so low, and obviously remission is always a possibility, but unbelievably grateful that that he has a clean bill of health. But like, so around that time, like I was starting to question myself. I read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, but like, it's crazy the universe works. My dad got his first check back that he was in remission. So now I like no longer had this weight on me that like, you know, I had to be there, and like, you know, something might happen to him, and his wish was me to be a lawyer. And then I read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I had that meeting with that lawyer, and it kind of all accumulated together. And I was like, bro, I don't want to be a fucking lawyer. And so I came downstairs. I told my dad. He said it was the biggest mistake I could ever make. He begged me to just take the LSAT. And I was like, all right, I'll just take the LSAT. I did spend like my entire life preparing for this. I took it. I got a 168, which is top 10% of test takers in the nation. I applied to the schools knowing I just wasn't going to go to it. I got into the schools that I wanted to go. But long story short, I decided that I wasn't going to do it. And so I Googled how to make money online. And I started that journey, and I got hit with a Ty Lopez ad. I bought SMMA, his
What
like
a
first
strong
version.
SEO.
Yeah, dude.
How to make money online being the number one thing.
I'm pretty sure either it was like I clicked on it, or like I got a
Retargeting
YouTube
ad.
video.
Retargeted
Yeah,
the
something
fuck out.
happened. Something, I got this fucking ad, and but at the same time, I had never. I had not been working, and I didn't want to get into like a 9-to-5 job, because I'm not planning on being fucking into the 9-to-5 world. I'm trying to be an entrepreneur.
So question for you.
Yeah.
A couple things. One, comment, like just the awareness to go, and I know your dad kind of set it up, but I think it was cute by you in a way, like to go talk to an attorney.
Yeah.
It's crazy how many people in life
Don't
make
do
like
that.
lifelong fucking decisions
Yeah.
and don't consult. Even dude, like I did the same exact thing. So I had been accepted in law school. I was going to go, and I was like, you know what? There's this lawyer that I see online who's young, who's ambitious. He's doing things. His name's CEO Lawyer. He was doing it big in Atlanta, and he was Middle Eastern. I was like, yo, bro, can I just come by your office, like spend an hour, ask you some questions? He's like, what's it about? I was like, this, that. He's like, cool. So I went to his office. We sat down for 30 minutes. We sat down for like an hour and 30 minutes. I gave him all my opportunity cost. I was like, here's all the things I could do the next 3 years that I can't if I go to law school. And you tell me what you think I should do. And he was a very successful lawyer, and now he's like 150x as successful as he was. And we basically came to the conclusion the opportunity cost of me going to law school versus doing these things that I'm already doing for 3 years is not worth it.
That was too great.
As much as the benefits of being a lawyer were high, and he says like I would never take it back and I would always go to law school, that was our conclusion from an attorney to me. Now that guy's my client, one of my closest friends.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've made him tens of millions of dollars. We still work together.
Did he have an event recently?
Yeah, that's his.
I know exactly what you're talking
Massive
about.
event.
Yeah.
But crazy how like people do all the shit and don't consult. And we had a conversation yesterday. When you get advice that you agree with, you just go and execute.
Immediately,
You don't even wait.
immediately execute.
Dude, weird situation, but for me, like I was contemplating, do I have a kid now with my wife? Do we have it later? I was, all these masterminds, there's people who are like 40 who have great relationships with their wives. They have kids that are in like middle school, high school, and they're very successful guys financially and with their wives. And so I surveyed like 10, 20 of these guys over the course of like a week of different masterminds with my wife. And every single person was like, looking back, we'd rather have a kid as soon as possible.
Wow, really?
The next night I had a kid.
So you implemented immediately. Like, honey, come home right now.
I'm like, honey, are we on the
baby,
same
get home.
page?
I'm implementing this shit right now, baby.
But really, bro, I mean, that's how the game should work.
Yeah.
So many people take advice from people who are not
Where you want to be.
no fucking
No
clue
idea.
about what they're giving advice about.
They are
bro.
all following the exact same, and I'll use the word propaganda, that the media, the schools, and everybody's pushing out there. Go to 9 to 5, become a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. So everyone's just drinking from the same fucking bullshit fountain. And yeah, you have to have, that's like probably one of the things and I'm so happy you stopped and said that, because I usually always harp on that. I'm like, dude, whatever even if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur or starting an advertising agency, whatever, just talk to 3 to 5 people there and don't believe, you and I are both marketers, right?
Yeah.
So we make shit look good online. That's literally our fucking job.
Yeah.
So like, go talk to people and they'll tell you the legitimate truth about it. And nothing's going to be fucking the best thing in the world, but at least you are able to weigh your options.
Yeah, 100%. So back to that. So you got into law school. You decided against the $250K in 3 years.
Yeah, because I knew the opportunity cost was too great, but I had no money and I didn't want to join a 9 to 5 thing. So I actually ended up getting a job at an Italian restaurant in Atlanta. It's called Il Giallo off of Roswell Road. There's a Chick-fil-A right there, and I ended up working there. And
Isn't crazy?
I know that we're from Atlanta. I love it. And I ended up working there for almost a year, dude. And it was so funny. I was making probably $2,000 a month at this restaurant. But what the cool thing was, it would give me all day to go through the Tai Lopez SMMA course and then implement stuff. And then I would go to dinner. I had to be there at 4 o'clock. Dinner started at 6. And from 5 o'clock, or I think dinner started at 5. I'm sorry. Be there at 4, set everything up. Dinner started at 5. Nobody came to dinner between 5 and 6. So while everyone else was just looking down, glued to their phone, on social media, Instagram, I had my whole laptop open and I was in Facebook ads, watching YouTube videos. So I just took every second I had to try to build this business. And to the first client that set me on this whole journey, this girl that I was talking to at the time, because I hadn't talked to girls for years, a year and a half. I was so focused. And this girl I was talking to at the time, her dad owned a plastic surgery clinic in Atlanta. And so, I go to dinner with her dad. We're at her house, and I told nobody that I was doing this entrepreneurship thing. Because my dad, once again, my dad wasn't doing anything disrespectful to me, but he made me feel like this was such a mistake that I was what my dream, and this is a good lesson for everyone listening, I was all right, I'm just going to not tell anybody what I'm doing. I'm going to become a millionaire, and I'm just going to drive up to the next fucking bar in my hometown in Ferrari and just flick everybody else off. And that was that was the dream, just fuck you. This old thing, this Ferrari that I have right here. And so I was afraid to tell anybody. So I literally was just doing cold emailing, cold calling, which is a fucking nightmare because ironically enough, people need to know, and trust you. If you don't have any results at all, most of the time your first clients are going to be somebody that that's why multi-level marketing companies tell you to go after your sphere of influence, and real estate agents, right? So I made the mistake of doing the opposite and going out, and they're like, why should I trust you? You don't have your results. So I was having dinner with this plastic surgeon, and I was like, bro, I have no money left. I was probably 15 grand in debt on my credit card, my Discover card. And how
old are you?
That's a good question. 23, I think. 24 probably.
How old are you now?
28.
28.
Yeah.
You only 28?
Yeah.
Damn, bro. When do you turn 29?
April 19th.
Okay, cool. I turned 29 in 2 days.
Oh, no way. Do you really?
Yeah. I thought, for some reason, I thought you were 30, 31.
No. But happy early birthday. That's
Thanks,
awesome.
Bro, appreciate it.
I don't have anything for you, but maybe I'll
It's all good. This podcast is more than enough.
And so he's like, hey, honey, do you know anybody that does social media marketing? I need someone to help me with the plastic surgery, at the clinic. And before she could say anything, I go, I can help you with social media marketing. And he's like, you can? And I still remember this girl I'm talking to, she's like, you can? Even the girl I was talking to had no idea what I was doing. They had no idea. So I'm like, yeah, sure. So he's like, all right, why don't you draft up a proposal, come tomorrow, show me that. And I remember I literally I probably spent 15 hours creating this proposal for this guy. I audited his whole website, all of his social media. I set up the whole next 90-day plan. And I was practicing it in the mirror the night before. I'm I show up at the clinic. My blood's boiling. I go in there, I sit down. He's like, all right, so what can you do? I was like, all right, right, so this is what I can do. And I start talking. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. Just how much do you cost? I was like, $2,000 a month. He's like, all right, here's a check, $2,000 a month. Get started. I was like, what? And that was the first time that no like and trust factor was like, and here I was cold emailing and cold calling medical spas all across the United States. And I couldn't even get to the decision maker. And this guy didn't even bat an eye, wrote me a check for $2,000. And, big shout out to him, because honest to God, I had no fucking idea what I was doing. And he still paid me for 6 months after that. And then eventually he was like, yeah, I don't really know if you're doing anything. And I was like, but I got to practice like ads and a bunch of stuff and like learn a little bit more from him. And then that gave me the confidence to go get my next client, which was my mom's friend, Judy Jones, in our hometown as a real estate agent. And I gave my mom a referral fee. And so like my sphere of influence started growing. I started learning actually how to do stuff. And that was like how I started getting traction. And that's why another, I think, good lesson for people on here is like most people are so afraid of burning their network. So they go to total strangers because they don't want to burn bridges. But it's so much easier if you just do it in your local network. And then if you fuck up, just give them their money back, right? Like I had no real cost of doing this for these guys. And so I just did that. And then finally I was getting results in the real estate industry. And then I leveraged those results to then having the cold emailing. And they'd be like, oh, well, like, how do I know you've done this before? And like, boom, here's a case study, or here's somebody you can talk to. And that's when the business started taking off.
That's insane, bro. Like, it's crazy because people right now only know you as like Ravi Abuvala. You get what I'm saying? Like, even me, I never reflect on it.
Sure.
And I have a lot of confidence and shit, but I truly don't feel like I have a big ego by any means. I'm very humble. I'm very kind to everyone equally. You know what I mean? But I'm also real as fuck. I don't let people roll like down to any level. If someone does anything, like, I'm drawing the line right away. But so many people probably don't know that we both used to work together. I was technically a free client of yours and you were a free client of mine. And we had like no clients, and he was like trying to do his email thing with me, and I was trying to do shit for
so
his friends.
So after the advertising agency, it's a long story short, but we did scale to like multiple 7 figures, but I fucking hated working with real estate agents. I won't go into the whole thing. It's no disrespect against real estate agents, but like, my number one value in my life is extreme ownership. And I knew that I was like, I couldn't solve these real estate agents' problems. They needed Jesus. Like they needed so much more work than what I could provide. And so I was like, all right, I can't do this. So I started working with entrepreneurs, and like, I was taking that same cold emailing, like lead generation thing that I was doing, and I was doing it for entrepreneurs, like agencies and stuff like, and I think that's how you and I got connected originally, which is like literally so funny to think about. I mean, what year? That was 2018 or 2019?
It was a minute ago.
Probably had to be in 2019 that I was doing that. And that was the genesis of what Scaling with Systems is today, actually.
You know, it's cool because back then, Andrew, for reference, like we weren't like names in marketing.
Literally nobody. The opposite of names.
I mean, this is what, like 3-4 years ago.
I think
it's
it's
not
like
even that long.
Yeah,
ago.
2019. Yeah. But in internet years, it's like dog years. I always say internet years is like 10 years. Every year is like literally like 10 years.
So true, dude. And it's funny because like I'm thinking back now, like even our friends were like, they would start a course or something, and they'd be like, oh, could you guys like give us a testimonial? And I was like, whatever.
Yeah, sure. I'll shoot a testimonial for you.
And now it's like, I always see like me and Ravi and like the top
on every single ad, literally every, and like people that no disrespect, like I'll have one call with them where I'll learn one thing, and then it's like they pin all the success I had on like that one call, which is cool, bro. Like I get testimonials and case studies, but it is literally funny to see. Like people message me, they're like, so who actually did you learn from? Because I see you on 10 different testimonials. And that's because when someone asks for your testimonial, this is what I used to do. Now I literally will really rarely give it out, but I'm like, yo, you shoot me a testimonial I'll shoot you a testimonial if you shoot me a testimonial.
We've done it for each other.
Yeah, exactly.
My testimonial, I swear to God, just from my interaction, so probably more, has closed at least 50 people into your program because they'll DM me and they'll be like, how is this program?
Oh my God.
I'm like, it's fucking amazing. He's legit. He knows his fucking shit.
That's so funny.
At least 50 times.
Damn.
And God knows who hasn't messaged
Who hasn't ever messaged you.
But it's so funny because that testimonial was like from fucking like
years ago, bro. And we're like a totally different company.
Basement.
Yeah,
dude, I didn't have a single beard hair. It was in my M4. I think I did it on my red seats.
It was in your M4. I do remember
just
that.
to feel like I was in
You're
something.
a baller.
You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
the and I always like, there's the golden rule, like treat others how you want to be treated, and I think that applies for me, like just the mirror in life. Like I would like I never default on payments. I never charge back because like I don't want people to do that to me. So for testimonials, I want people to give me fucking kick-ass testimonials. So it's not even anybody else's fault that they use my testimonial. It's my fault because I just go like, this person changed my life, because like I just want those people to do it back to me. So I think that's also why people use all my shit all the time.
That's a key concept in life, though, just reciprocated value in general.
Exactly.
I gave a whole speech on sales, and like I can fucking close, and I close. The people that I close are like insane fucking names, clients, like just unattainable to people in their heads, right? And half of my entire reason why I close them is reciprocated value. Just the concept of like doing something for someone else before they do something for you. Therefore, subconsciously, if they are a good person and a person of value in any way, which a lot of these guys who have built businesses and companies with people are, they will find a way to reciprocate that value back.
I think that's literally all good marketing is. I think good marketing is literally just reciprocated value. Like, I don't even think it's sales. Like, sales is when they're on the call with you, it's because they've gotten so much fucking value from you in some way or the other, whether it's a personal relationship or it's in your content or your ads or VSLs, whatever else it is. And then the sales is literally them like, okay, I've gotten so much value like from Eddie. Should I just like hop on this call and see what they're actually about? And then you close the deal, obviously, because you're a savage. But it's like, I think that totally shifted how we do marketing. Like, we went back. I used to be a huge ads guy, like, 300, 400 grand a month to acquire clients. And now our ad budget is less than $100,000 a month because we're just so full blown on content right now and like creating content all the time. Cause that's the easiest way. And like, we'll run ads to our content, but not to a VSL. Like, we'll run ads to our content because that's how we're building reciprocated value.
It's crazy. We were just talking about it as a team, and we're like, how can we improve our email sequences after someone opts in? And we all voted, fuck asking them to book a call with us. Let's just use all our emails to send them to valuable content that we've previously filmed and just let them fucking binge. And when they want to book a call, they'll book a call. And we won't even need to fucking tell them anything.
We have a sales funnel, like inside of ClickFunnels, and inside that sales funnel is, I think, maybe 50 or 60 steps, which is like each one of those individual pages. And they're all just like, it's the same template. It's like headline, video, and then there's a button to book a call below, because we have a 50 email sequence after someone opts in. And it's exactly what you just said. Like, hey, want this training on how to build a client success team? Boom, go here. They watch the video. They don't book, whatever. Next day, want this training on how we like manage 8 figures in ad spend? Boom.
Oh,
there.
that's so sexy.
It's literally just every
So you're just
day.
embedding these YouTube videos.
Exactly. It's not even YouTube videos, actually. They're private gated videos. Sometimes they're YouTube, sometimes. And
Wouldn't you benefit a lot from sending them to like YouTube?
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Your YouTube's popping.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I appreciate that. Yeah, we put a lot of time and energy into it. But, the other thing about YouTube is like, you got to understand the fucking algorithm. And like, if I put some of these videos on YouTube, like they're an hour and a half long. And I'm like, those wouldn't probably perform well on YouTube.
Okay.
So it is like a give and take of what we put there. And also, I want them to feel like, sometimes in the email copy, I'll be like, you can't find this anywhere else except for this email here. And so they'll click on that video to watch it for that reason.
That's sick. I'm actually going to implement something like that. We have abundance of content, SOPs, all this shit in the space. I mean, bro, you don't get to 100 employees in the agency space like without finding
real
a way to keep
assets
it together.
Bro, you have some, I bet you have some real kick-ass assets that, I mean, some of that shit is literally just Loom videos that I give our team members that like, I'll rip a Loom video about how we're going to now do this new like email marketing thing. And then I'll be like, oh, fuck it. Let's just put it on a web page and just give it to people in the email sequence. That's the exact same thing.
Some of those internal training videos, like, I realize I'm like, damn, this is like sick content. Like, people would be.
This is years of fucking around and finding out.
And figuring out the right answer.
Exactly. Because you don't know how many times we've changed like this one little thing to try to get it exactly right. And then to just give that away, it's like people take that for granted for sure.
I told you guys right before the camera started rolling, the 2 words I'm using this year that's like just like helping me decide every single decision is leverage and simplicity. So for me, leverage is you creating something one time and then iterating it and giving it out to as many. So let me give you an example. Like we do an email, we do a Loom video on, let's just say, for example, how we're doing the new email marketing sequence and how this all works together. I give that to my team, but then the cool thing is that we have all of our clients inside of a Slack workspace. So here's my company Slack workspace, and in the app, you have your client Slack workspace. So I just copy and paste the message from my company one, and I go inside my client one, and I just paste it inside the main channel with all of our clients. So now all of our clients get it. Then I go inside ClickFunnels, throw it on a page, add it inside the email marketing, and now all of our even not clients, just the leads that are coming in, they also get it as well. So this one video that I shot that's going to make us money just from the company implementing it, now we're distributing it all across our like channels, and all of our prospects are getting it as well. And I'm just looking to make more fucking decisions like that, where it's just everything that I do is infinitely leverageable. And one of the main ways you can do that is content.
Dude, I fucking love that. So agency was the initial game.
Yeah.
Then you got out of that completely.
Yep.
You started actually selling to agencies in a way, right? What was that business called?
So that was actually just the genesis of Scaling with Systems. It didn't have a name, to be honest with you. Like, and I think people get so tripped up on like logos and names. And I just was like, people that I knew in the network, like you, like it was like either we'll work for free for reciprocity of services, or like I was just doing the same thing that I was doing to get clients for my advertising agency. I was just doing that for other clients.
But where was that switch of like, instead of selling to the end consumer, why don't I sell to the people who sell to the end consumer?
As in like going from the agency to the business?
Yeah.
Like I said, it was in the real estate market. I just was I was just like so tired of working with agents.
Okay.
And so at the same time, I was living in Colombia, and I was like kind of doing the 4-hour work week thing, like I talked about yesterday at your event. And some of my friends were like, yo, like, bro, we're both joined this course at the exact same time, and you're like doing 130, 150 grand a month, and you're living in Colombia. Like, what the fuck did you do that I didn't do? And I'd be like, just give me $3 grand and I'll show you it. And like the biggest like change in it was, here I am begging real estate agents to pay me $2,500 a month. And after all said and done, I'm taking home $800 a month on that, right? With ad spend, salespeople, everything.
Which is what people don't fucking realize.
Well, yeah, they don't really hear $2,500 a month. So I'm making 800, which I was like, that was like my base. I was like, if I can do 800 a month and I have 400 clients, like that was what the goal was. And so I was like begging these agents to do it, working so hard. And then like here, my buddy would be like, yo, how are you doing this? I'm like, honestly, bro, it's like this VA, it's cold email. You got to set these systems. Like, just give me $3 grand and I'll show you it. And he's like, cool. All right. You want PayPal? And you just send me the $3 grand, and I'd hop on a 1-hour call, and like, that was it. And it was the easiest $3 grand I ever made my entire life. And that was like when I was starting to see the difference in the market that I was working with, their kind of disposable income. But honestly, more importantly than that, I was seeing that like a real estate agent, their average sales cycle is 6 months, right? They're taking 3% of a huge deal. They're a huge commodity. And instead of, it wasn't just the fact that our people could, like agencies or whoever else could afford me. It was that the reason they could afford me is because they make so much money up front whenever they close a deal, and the sales cycle is 6 days versus 6 months. So they'd be willing to pay me $3 grand because if I do my job correctly, they're going to make an extra 30 grand that month. So I knew that also had price elasticity in order to go up in pricing, because I know if I could figure out how to make them 100 grand the first 30 days, they'd pay me 10 grand. And so all of that kind of opened up my eyes of like the first understanding of kind of what Hormozi talks about $100 million offers, like just the audience that you're going after has a huge impact on your entire business. I mean, I've seen people that, in no disrespect to them, but are not business savvy in a very respectful way. Let's just say they're not business savvy, right? Like I've seen rocks that are more business savvy than these people. And they are actually making like $500,000 a month selling this thing because the audience and the offer is so dialed. And then I know other people who are literally slaving their life away, working 70, 80 hours a week, like just sacrificing everything and grinding. But the offer and the audience isn't dialed in. And so I was really fortunate enough that like in 2019, I realized that not in the distilled version that I just told you a second ago, but I had that kind of idea. And that was when I started making that transition.
And that was Scaling with Systems.
That was Scaling, but it had no name. Like it was just like, which Scaling with Systems is a banger name, bro. I have it trademarked. But at that time it was just like Ravi. I was selling Ravi.
Yeah.
Like, you just pay me some money, I'll hop on a call with you.
No, I get that. But it's cool because of Scaling with Systems, I feel like that is what has made you like Ravi Abuvala.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like it's definitely like synonymous with my name. And I was also really fortunate enough. I was having the conversation with some of the guys that were there yesterday. Like, I'm very fortunate enough that Scaling with Systems is pretty much the thing that I want to do for the rest of my life in one iteration of the other. Like now we're doing like, we help people grow their companies, but like in the future, we're going to do that, but it's just going to be an acquisitions game. Like I already just took my first portfolio company. I was talking to you about that yesterday. It's doing really well. So like, that's going to be the long-term game. So all of the energy and all of the content, all of the SEO, everything that we're doing to build up the Scaling with Systems name, like, and everything I've done for the past 3 years, it's all just going to like hit quadratic growth. And then in the future, I'm just going to replace the link for, come work with us as a client to let us come buy your company as a portfolio company. I'm just going to literally replace all the links. And obviously nothing ever works out the way you want it to, but the idea behind it is like we're going to get an instant stream of portfolio companies to come in.
I love that. We did a couple mergers and acquisitions last year. We acquired 2 smaller agencies that were doing like 6 figures a year, and now they're doing 7 figures a year.
Do you roll them up and like do you keep their team or do they absorb into yours and you're like you guys are doing like you put your services to their market? Like how did that like blend of those two?
Yeah, so it was very strategic. It wasn't like this reckless like, oh, I want to do M&A and buy other companies. We wanted to be able to generate more money from the same amount of marketing efforts that we were doing. So basically what I saw was, just like in your business, right, you require someone to collect $1,000 in the first 30 days or whatever. We're going down the list, right? Yeah. LTV needs to be at least $3,000 in the first 6 months, whatever it is. So we have our KPIs too, and because of that, we turn away like 98% of people. I mean, that's really the number. We turn away 98% just because in our industry, like
especially you have the agency space, like you're trying to get LTV. You're not trying to fucking spin somebody up and leave them.
And bro, you don't understand. Like because of how much we create content and run ads, we generate so many deals that we like just can't take on because it's a distraction. Like if I did what the con guy was doing, you know who I'm talking about in Australia?
No.
Sabri. So yeah.
That guy.
He takes on any client. If you're a realtor, if you're an e-com store, it doesn't matter. I've audited ad accounts from him, and like they're all like lead gen ad accounts, like copy and paste it into like other ad accounts. They just duplicate it. Like if we did that, bro, we could do millions every single month, honestly, from the amount of deal flow that we get. But my team would probably kill themselves. We wouldn't actually be getting actual results. And we would just be like taking people's checks and not actually like growing companies.
Dude, your reputational currency is literally the most. I was lucky that I knew that early on, but that's going to be the most. Like no matter how much money you make right now, if you fuck up, and I'm not saying that Sabri's doing this, but I'm just saying that if you do fuck up your name, there's like, it's very difficult to fix that later on.
100%. That's something I never, ever, ever, ever fucked around with.
Yeah.
Like that is one thing I don't fuck around with. But basically what happened was we strategically took, so here's our threshold. Let's say it's right here. Let's see what's below the threshold. Let's see like how can we get people that want to pay us $2,500 or $3,000 retainers as opposed to $7,500, $15,000, $2,000 retainers. We found people who are in those agencies. We acquired one from Europe. So that was a team of 15 people. We fired 5. We kept 10.
Nice.
We absorbed them into our company. They became 4 Media Marketing. So they're essentially just a subsidiary company. They own equity of that subsidiary.
Do they sell the same services you guys do? Or because you said it's like 2,500 or 3,500. So what's the difference?
Yeah, so they're actually same service downsell. So
cool.
Instead of like, we call it like you can work with the Atlanta team, which is like all American, or you can work with the Europe team for half the price.
Oh.
And so we tell people that up front. We're like, here it is. They still work with us. They get trained on the same systems. They are in our boardroom. We meet with them every single day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But as a benefit, payroll there is way cheaper. And if you want to work with people in Europe and, just get off work 2 hours earlier than we do, basically, then this is an option for you.
Do you have a lot of European clients now that are going over there? No.
Dude, we don't have none, but we don't have a lot. We market in America and Canada.
United States. Okay.
And pretty much all their clients are from there.
Wow.
Which is cool because what happens is we were like, okay, how can we get people to pay us $2,500 a month? But what we've noticed is people come for $2,500. We'll do a good job there, and then they'll pay them for 3-4 services. So this $2,500 ticket is now $10,000 a month.
Got it.
With a downsell team that requires 0 time for any of us.
And you're more profitable than you would do with the United States.
Dude, exactly. And less headaches per dollar. I don't even know they exist. And we do all the admin work. So we're doing finances. We're doing reports every month with them. We're letting them know exactly what's happening. Marketing is supposed to be ours, but they're so into it that now both of us do the marketing. They're actually our internal marketing team now in a way.
Oh, for your agency.
For our agency,
Interesting.
Because if you think about it, percentage-wise, we market. 5% is qualified to work with us.
Yeah.
And 45% is qualified to work with them. So it's actually super incentive for them to like actually drill down on the marketing and do that. And then same, so we had an Amazon department that we were like, okay, let's start an Amazon department. And I just realized, dude, I do not want to start anything from scratch anymore. This is a fucking shit show. I don't know who to trust, who to not trust as my employees. We got an Amazon agency. There was like 8 employees. We fired 3 that we didn't like. We kept 5. We built that division out. That division, we acquired them in May. Now they have 16, 17 employees in that division. And honestly, our lowest churning division. Like no one ever fucking leaves on Amazon. We have the fucking most insane case studies. And I think the next year, e-commerce, Amazon's going to fucking dominate and those guys are going to win big. And
so when you say Amazon, it's people that are selling products on Amazon.
Yeah, I think Shopify is going to be way
to.
harder. Like you can't drop ship stuff and cost of goods are just super high. Cost of acquisition is super high. And unless you're building long-term brand value, you're kind of fucked. Obviously, there's going to be one-off products where people are like, oh, I still drop ship and shit like that. But as a business model as a whole, I just don't think it's going to work. And so Amazon, I could tell like Amazon was a great way for us to segue brands into us. And the cool part now is like brands will work with us on London, which is our Europe team. They'll work on other services on the Atlanta team, and they'll work on other services on the Amazon team. And so LTV now is like $5K a month here, $40K a quarter here for content, and then another $5K a month on Amazon. Wow. And now this person's like multiple hundreds of thousands a month at the same acquisition cost.
That's huge.
Same service cost, no headaches. They're all doing the work. But yeah, dude, M&A is definitely the way.
Yeah.
100%. And I think like, especially with your talent level, that's what I was kind of getting towards yesterday at dinner. And then you kind of mentioned that you had already started that with your portfolio company. Yeah. But I was like, dude, if I was you, I would just like eat up these brands that you could look at. Cause like you're like me, bro. I'm sure you walk in, you look at a business and you think of like 15 ways that you're like, okay, I could do this and it's double overnight. Like
I was telling you last night, I read that Sam Zell book, and like it's ironic that one of the kind of the ways that I'm shifting the focus is if I were looking at acquisitions, it's not just like what can we do, but it's also like what is redundant inside this company right now that is just totally not necessary, and what can we like. Obviously, a lot of the stuff I was showing yesterday at my presentation was like actually it had nothing to do with spending more money and running more ads or hiring more people. It was like how do you get more out of what you already have? Efficiency, essentially the definition of it. So I think a lot of the times when I'm looking for or at portfolio companies, it's not just like what is the opportunity, like what's the possibility, because that could go any way, right? That literally could go any way, but like they're making this amount of money and they have all like they're making this stuff and they're, for example, like they're using a fucking I was talking to a guy yesterday who's using Google Sheets as a CRM, right? He's doing like 150 grand a month. I'm like, bro, like please, for the love of God, get a CRM and like you're gonna probably double your business, like if you actually set it up correctly. So I think those are also huge opportunities.
Not to spill too I won't share the person, but I know someone that moved to a new company and they were kind of talking about that. They're like, dude, I can't believe how
I already know you're fucking talking
about, bro. Like they're not even using.
To be fair, they left our company too.
Yeah, they're not even using like a project management
software.
Still,
the one that he went to, they're not using.
Yeah, and he was just like, "Holy shit!" Now I'm realizing how so many of these companies are just stuck in the past because they can't even leverage like remote employees because they don't even have the systems in place to even bring. Someone
and these
like
are big
that
companies, dude.
Yeah.
These are big companies,
bro. He's like they run on iMessage and Google Sheets.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
and no one's being kept accountable. And that's the thing that we were kind of talking about with Tommy and D the other night about like the A players are getting bogged down by those people that are not being kept accountable.
Yep.
And when people are not being kept accountable because there's no like project management software or anything like that, like it just brings everyone down and it makes people like not care. They're like, oh, well, that guy's like fucking off all day. He's like working remote, but like he's not doing anything. And
but the ironic part, if you take it full circle, going back to what I talked about earlier, those companies are still making money despite how fucking bad they're at business, because I bet you the offer in the audience is fucking banging.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that they're doing so well because people want their offer so badly, even though I see it all the time, even though their actual operations are trash.
And like you said, like the business operator could be like as dumb as a rock when it comes to business, but like he figured out a way. And at the end of the day, like if you hammer something hard enough and you know, you eventually figure something out.
Sure.
Like, you know, there's a lot of really dumb entrepreneurs out there. And I think honestly, that's sometimes their superpower. Like they are just, they are not afraid for the no's. They're not afraid to get turned down. They're not afraid to fail. And they just keep hammering it until they like figure something out. And you know, it might not be the most optimized thing ever, but they got it done.
And I think the other thing that a lot of people kind of discredit is that even like you don't have to, I think people go from like no systems in the Google Sheet and then they'll like maybe see my speech yesterday and they'll go like my level of systems and automations. And I think that'll actually probably break it faster. Then what you should do is like just take it slowly, one step at a time. Like just start a CRM. Don't build all the automations. Just like start using a CRM or like build a sales funnel or whatever. And I think some people, they go, the biggest mistake they make is they go from nothing to 110% in like 7 days. And then it doesn't work because they just literally changed everything inside their business. And then they go, oh, it doesn't work. Let's just go back to zero again. Let's go back to where we were previously. And I think it just needs to be like incremental steps forward.
Totally.
So let's talk content because so many people talk content. They don't actually do that shit. And
Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's 9:48.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, my fucking watch is still on Eastern time. That's my bad. Okay, I was thinking my sister.
No, I got you, bro.
Go ahead.
You.
All right.
Don't worry.
You're good.
I got you.
You're good. We got plenty of time.
So let's talk content. I know you do a really good job actually making content, but not just making content, benefiting from making content. So a very key difference here. I know a lot of people who make content, blah, 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 but it doesn't actually power their business. And yesterday, you were showing us, all the high-ros tagging and how many people who are actually qualified who purchase and where they're coming from. And a lot of them are coming from your YouTube organic. Mm-hmm. I assume, if you dial down the funnel and look through all of it, that they probably come through an ad of some sort. They watch a training. Then they're like, oh, this guy is cool shit. And then they just go binge for like weeks or whatever it is. And then
it's actually the opposite usually.
Really?
It's that they'll find me on YouTube because like my YouTube, so we're not like, we're not like viral content. It's like browse. It's not like
no, but
content.
it's high level, bro. We're the same shit. People
Yeah.
are like, bro, like you need more views on your podcast.
Yeah.
Like it's the best shit ever. But like the people who are listening
are
all make
listening.
6 figures a month.
Exactly.
And those are the people we want.
That's what people. Yeah, you can't like. That's why you don't cast the fucking. Like I'm sure I could make like 5 ways to make $100 a day, and I could get more. But I just have zero interest in that, right? And the people that I want to target, they have zero interest in that as well. No, it's the opposite. It's people find me on YouTube from searchable content, and then we run ads retargeting on YouTube to our funnels, and that's usually where people will come in. So it's either YouTube to ad or link in the description that they'll come. But I mean, over 60% of our deals, even like our multiple 5-figure deals, come from YouTube organic.
That's crazy. And so talking about YouTube organic, what in your sense, in your opinion, is like the strategy here? Is it what works best essentially? Is it like these Loom videos that you're just delivering straight pure value? Is it the high production shit where you're sitting and doing talking head videos mainly to a camera? Like where is the actual value? Because this year we're going harder on YouTube, and an initiative that I was telling the team was like, listen guys, like we have 100 fucking employees, and at the end of the day, like at least 25 of these guys are fucking overqualified. They need to fucking be making all this content. They've SOP'd and built out full departments that are doing 6-7 figures a month in their department alone. And essentially we're not creating content because we're waiting on the content team. We only want to do it if it's a high production value. It's someone talking in front of the camera. I was like, fuck that shit. Everyone's required to shoot a Loom video covering a sick SOP or a sick campaign or some shit that they did that was sick once every 2 weeks. And if these 20 people do that, we have unlimited
content,
value-based YouTube content that like no one is going to compete on because no one has a fucking 100-person agency just giving away this level of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we've tried so much shit, all of it, the fucking like high quality production, me moving, me walking, me in my plane. We've done it like at the office. We've done low value shit, like just like me and my phone. And the truth is I don't really see a trend of like what this is working better and this is like than this. So, but that's not disheartening because I'm like, all right, well, if I don't have to jump through 400 hoops because it doesn't really fucking matter in the end, then let's not make the full blown production just to get a YouTube video out. And going back to what I talked about earlier with the simplicity thing, it's like I just literally spent, my creative director was at my house last weekend, and I just spent 48 hours and like we probably spent 22 of them together sitting in our podcast room redoing our entire content systems for simplicity. And I can walk through it later if you want because it's actually really banging. But the point of it being that like we also had a Scaling Systems YouTube channel that he was shooting content from, and I just realized, all right, as a CEO, probably one of my most valuable things I could ever do is create content for the company.
Thank you.
Like literally, it's like full time. Like we always like dismiss it as like if I get to it, I'll do it. Or even when I'm doing content, I feel like I'm disappointing my team or like I should be doing something else because it just because
it seems silly.
It seems silly. Exactly. Literally, it seems silly. It's the perfect way to say that. Yet it drives like multiple 7 figures a year for our company, and so I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to do the shooting of the video because, in all honesty, I'm the best person in the company at doing that, and I have the brand, like, and so it's connected. Even though we are removing me from the brand more, so I was like, all right, anything else that's not the shooting of the video, everybody else takes care of that. So right now we have keyword researchers, we have script writers, we have video editors, thumbnail, so all I do is I wake up in the morning in Asana. There's our pipeline. There's a backlog ideas that our keyword researcher and our creative director has been putting ideas on there with scripts for all of them. We actually use an automation with ChatGPT to just create the script as soon as they create the Asana task. It goes in ChatGPT, gets this. Write me a YouTube video script on how to do Facebook lookalike audiences. So like that, or an outline for it, and then ChatGPT spits it back to Asana. And I'm just looking at these. I'm like, which script do I want to do?
Spits it back to Asana.
Yeah, it's a nut. This is this is crazy.
Walk me through this.
Okay, all right. So we'll nerd out a little bit here.
Yeah.
Right. So in Asana, we have a template that is like YouTube video for Ravi : and then it's blank. And what you do is you add a template to it, and then you say, my keyword researcher, let's just use lookalike audiences. Just types in lookalike audience. Whenever that's added into the backlog section of Asana in that pipeline, then that sends a zap out to ChatGPT, and it says, okay, format that text and pull out any of the words after the colon, which is essentially what the video topic is about, right? So YouTube video for Ravi : Facebook lookalike audiences. And then you can send a prompt to ChatGPT from the automation from Zapier and say, so I type in the prompt, create me a YouTube video outline script on keyword insert format here. It spits it out really beautifully. What I say, and this is kind of obviously a little advanced, but I say, create me a YouTube video outline script and 3 salesy titles and 2 social media captions for keyword here. So it spits out an outline, 3 salesy titles, and 2 social media captions for when we post the reels for it. And that just gets then sent back to that Asana task. It goes inside of a subtask as like video research, and that full thing is right there. And it all just started by literally just cleaning the template and typing in the.
Bro, I need to invest an entire month into understanding how to zap shit to ChatGPT at another level.
It's not. We have a ChatGPT Slack channel that because we have a full SEO department, we have the media department, and like we're all just like geeking out in there. Oh, you can do this, you can do that, but a lot of people don't realize you can use Zapier with it and just automate the whole thing.
Fuck me. We need to make an actual universal channel because we've put everyone in a room and we've talked about it. We've had different meetings, but like. There's 80 other people in the company who aren't in those meetings, and they always are like, oh, yeah, we've been doing this crazy shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, my team is finding audiences on Facebook. So basically what they're doing is they're automating into ChatGPT. Basically, when we put all the people's like Facebook audience keywords or interests, whatever the fuck it is, into a Google Sheet, those are being zapped into ChatGPT, and it's finding the most relevant ones that are close to it that you wouldn't find from just like searching in an asset.
Does it know the audiences on Facebook?
Bro, yes, it does.
The ads audiences?
Holy fuck.
Wow,
yes, bro.
That's
we
nuts.
couldn't even find like Christian-based audiences for like an apparel brand. And they shot those audiences over, and it found every single.
How the fuck does it know the audiences on Facebook ads?
I know, crazy shit, right?
That is some gnarly
Then it's
stuff.
pumping them back, and then they're literally going and just typing those keywords into Facebook.
Oh my god, that's fucking.
And they're
awesome.
fucking winning, bro.
Dude,
they're winning.
Yeah, last night at dinner, Ashton told me one of the sickest use cases that they're doing. They're putting in their contracts that they're using. They're throwing them in there, and they're saying, hey, this is a contract for this type of service in this state. Read this contract and tell me where the holes are that were still exposed.
Stop it.
And it will say, you're still exposed in this area, this area, this area.
Bro.
It'll rewrite it. They'll send it back to the lawyers, and all they have to do is just proofread it and make sure that
Actually,
it's good.
AI might fuck lawyers
it's gonna fuck everybody,
on
bro.
a very intense level.
But it's not necessarily fuck them. You're just gonna have to adapt and
provide different services.
Yeah, like we're gonna use it to enhance our service. So I actually, you can't steal this idea because it's in the making right now. I don't know.
Write this down, Nate.
I don't know when this podcast is coming out. But we're running my creative director once again. Looked at the backlog. He had one in there. Was I spent $10,000 on ads written by ChatGPT, and so I have a YouTube video where there's a 2-part series. The first part is me literally creating for our company scaling systems, typing in like, write me an ad for a company that guarantees that will build a profitable client acquisition system or their money back in 3 days. And the copy was fucking banging, bro. It was
it's 85%.
It was
banging.
really good, and it's like you said, it's like 85%. But I was like, yo,
do you ever challenge it? You ever go back and you're like, make it witty,
make it better? Yeah. So, but for this video here, for my video, I was like, yo, I'm not gonna touch anything. I'm just gonna take copy and paste the way that it is, as long as it wasn't obviously lying, which it wasn't, and put it on Facebook. And then I launched it, I don't know, like 5 days ago at $500 a day. So I'm gonna wait until it spends $10,000. I'm gonna shoot a video that shows the results of that.
That's hot, bro.
Which
That's
is fun.
hot.
It's gonna be banging, bro. It's gonna be
That's
good.
a great concept.
Exactly. So that's the idea. So concepts are in that backlog. ChatGPT has the video research. I pull it up, and then just based off everything I know off of videos and what will do well on our channel, I decide which one I'm going to do. I move it over into the needs to film one. As soon as I move to the needs to film, it creates a Google folder in the right naming convention in the right folder. It zaps that Google Drive link into Asana as a custom field. And then I just shoot the video right there, then and there on my computer. I upload it to Google Drive. As soon as I check that off, it goes over to the editing team, and all of it's automated from there. It's all taken care of. So like now, because of that, I can sit down and shoot 10 YouTube videos in 2 days and have our entire month's worth of content. And then we do a podcast a week as well. But that's just like me sitting down with people. And so I've just literally simplified the entire part up, except for the speaking on the camera. And I don't like speak word for what ChatGPT gives me, but it does give me a good outline to like kind of follow.
That's what I was
on
going to
there.
ask. I'm like, are you using a teleprompter? Or are you
No,
just like
no.
bullet
We tried the
pointing?
teleprompter, and then we also tried like a scripter to do like word for word. And the cool thing is like we're kind of having the conversation right here. If I talk to you, like ask you guys about Facebook lookalike audiences, we could probably do a fucking 2-hour video about it. Like you don't need a script for it, but it is nice to make sure that you're staying on points, like on topics. And so that's what it essentially is for me. And then it's kind of automated from there. So instead of like disperse, because what you're talking about in theory, having all your team members do it, that's what we were going to do. But then it's like, fuck, now these people got to make the videos. You don't know how they are on camera. Like there's all these variables that come in. And so instead I was like, all right, instead we doing that, what if we just make it so that all I'm needed is for 2 days a month. We do it the first Friday and Saturday every single month. I just sit down and I shoot fucking 10 to 20 YouTube videos.
And your creative director lives in a different state, right? So he like flies to you.
So he actually, he lived in New York. I was like, if I hire you, you have to come to Florida because I want you to be in person, et cetera, et cetera. So he agreed. He lived in Florida for over a year, and going like, even since we built the system, but even before that, like he'll come in when I film podcasts and he'll turn all the shit on. But I'm so obsessed with simplicity and efficiency that I was telling before you came in, I was telling them like we redid our entire podcast setup. Now there's a little screen like kind of like that one that's like right here, and so I can literally go in there. He gave me a 1-pager, click 3 buttons, turn it on, and then I can shoot the podcast by myself. I don't need anybody else in there now, so he doesn't have to come in there. And now he can kind of travel a little bit more because he wants to travel, and it's also just simpler. Like that's the thing, is the simplicity of it. And so he doesn't come in anymore. We built a system, even because he just drove. He's on right now he's on a road trip to California to live there with his girlfriend for a few months. So, but he's super talented. I didn't want to lose him. So I was like, cool, we'll figure out how to do it remotely. So now everything's done without him. I don't have a videographer. I literally don't have anybody that comes in and does it. I just shoot the shit on my own, and I've just systemized it to where either I eliminated it, like, you know what, let's just not do that because that's too, like for example, when I don't know if it was on this podcast, we were going to move that to a new podcast room and like have but the light was coming in, and I was like, that would have been too much to figure out.
The guest room?
The guest room.
Yeah.
Like that was gonna be too much for me to figure out on my own. I'm like, fuck it, let's just like simple. Let's just leave it where it is. And so I feel like if we keep it that simple and I can do it by myself, then I have the time and the energy to pump out a lot of fucking good content this year.
Let's talk. I'm going to go on a tangent about efficiency.
Okay.
And how that relates to your relationship with your parents. So
Okay.
you talked about your dad. Are your parents divorced?
Yeah, they got divorced when I was 12 years old. Yeah, they had a pretty brutal divorce that lasted like 10 years or probably like 7 years. So it was like, I mean, I don't know if they'll listen to this, but it was a hard divorce. But they got divorced. I lived with my mom, but also up until I went to college, but also like went and saw my dad every other weekend.
Okay, cool. Well, sorry to hear that.
That's all. It's made me who I am.
That's what I was going to say. My wife's parents went through a divorce,
Yeah.
and she is the most excellent human being, and I do think a part of it is seing that side of it.
And I want to give just credit. My mom and dad are both amazing human beings, and like in their own respective rights, like they're great people, but I wouldn't trade that for anything in my entire, like I learned what I want out of my partner.
Exactly.
I learned like what I want out of somebody and what I want my kids like to go through and what I want to be, who I want to be to my kids. Like, and I would not have gotten that if I didn't go through.
And
that
you still have a good relationship with your mom?
Yeah, I have a great relationship with my mom. I'm fortunate enough to take care of her, and but like that's kind of goes into like, you know, there's some great videos on people interviewing athletes, and I read autobiographies all the time about like, you know, athletes that just give their family money, you know, or like you look at the kids of the I think it was the Vanderbilts, they fucking destroyed all of the generational wealth that they had. So I've literally tried to have this conversation with so many people about like, how much do you give that, and this is a little bit of tangent, but you said tangent. How much do you give without like actually like ruining somebody's life? So for example, like I'll help my mom out when she needs it, but she has to have a job. Like I'm not because like, and the job is like right now she works at UPS, like as a casual part-time thing, just literally goes in there and helps. Like she enjoys it a lot because we're in a small town that she talks to a lot of people. And so like, obviously I can afford to retire my mom and never have her work again. But I don't want that because it's just like, I think you lose purpose, and also I won't get into everything, but I think like you just lose purpose. And I feel like I don't want to be the person that you're just like relying on me. I think if you were relying on me, you become, I don't want to say less of a person, but you're just like not self-sufficient. And I don't want that for somebody. So all of that to say that I do still have a good relationship with my mom, and like I do take care of her whenever possible, but those stipulations are that she can't just be like laying around the house and like me, and that's going to be the same thing for anybody else in my life.
It's easy to become resentful too.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like when someone is like, you know, providing for you 100%, and you know deep down that you can't, you know, you don't do it, you don't need anything. It's just like that resentment definitely grows.
And I think it's both ways, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it can easily go both ways. And I, like you said, you nailed it with the resentment. Same thing with my dad. I knew that if I went to law school, there's some part of me that would have resented my dad for the rest of my life. Cause like that's a $200,000 a year or $200,000 decision. So once you're one semester in, bro, you're in. You're already 30 grand in. You can't leave at that point. So like before I started, I'm happy I stopped it. But so many decisions are made off of resentment, like worried about like, you do this and then later on you say, it's your fault, but in reality it's fucking my own fault that I did that. So that tying it all together, that was that extreme ownership thing that we have earlier.
I love that. So here's where I was going with the question. So as a high performer and as someone who really understands efficiency, right? We were talking yesterday, like even when our parents land in the airport, as much as I want to see them, it makes 1,000 times more sense financially for me to get them an Uber instead of getting stuck in Atlanta traffic, driving back in the middle of a workday where I could have spent 4 hours doing some fucking way more important shit than the $7,500 Uber I would have paid for them, right?
7,500?
Yeah, I think you were saying 75 to 100.
Oh, okay.
I heard that too.
I'm like 7,500. How much
$7,500
expensive Ubers in Atlanta?
I'm like,
bro?
oh yeah, I get them planes. One thing that's happened in my family, like, is because my level of understanding of efficiency has grown so much, and I treat everything in my life in such a way. Like I told you, I built a house 3 minutes from my office.
Yeah.
Like I want everything to be efficient and as time effective as possible. It's created, and I have a very, very good relationship with my parents.
That's amazing.
Up till I'd say, and not that it's a bad relationship, up till recently, I think there's been a massive gap created mentally in regards to how I view the world, how I view opinions of certain things, and how I view efficiencies. And my parents take it, mainly my mother, not my father.
Personal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They take it as like, why don't you want to talk to us? Or why don't you XYZ? You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't you put time towards this? Why can't you call me for 20 minutes?
And
in the
your
middle
parents
of a work
are
day?
immigrants? Are they?
They're immigrants,
yeah, my dad's
So
the exact same way.
And like, it's funny, like going even back to like when I first started marketing, at first it was like, I would notice how they would intro me to other people. They'd be like, oh yeah, Eddie does like stuff on a computer. Like, like it wasn't that big deal. And then like after we started growing, like I noticed like when they'd intro me, they'd give like a 3-minute talk about all the crazy shit that we're doing, you know? And it was cool to see that, but it's gotten to a point where it's like, in our business, we're seeing like $1 million in a day.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? $2 million in a day. I show that to them and they're like,
yeah, they can't
the
comprehend.
gap is so big, they can't understand. Like, what is this that you're showing me? That's impossible. You know what I mean? And so all these little things between like, why don't you do this? Why does it have to be on our calendar on Tuesday night if you're coming for family night type shit? Like I send them invites and shit and they're like, oh, we have to have a calendar for like our own son and shit. I'm like, Like, has that affected your
It's
relationship?
actually more
in any way?
respectful, honestly.
That's how I look at it too.
It's difficult. It's a really, I don't think I've ever gotten asked that question. The answer is yes, it has definitely impacted the relationships. Like, you know, like, so my mom or really my dad will be like, you know, why don't you call me every single day? When I was growing up, that's how, and I'm like, why do you think that me calling you every single day is some kind of indication that I love you? Like, you're reading, right? One of my favorite quotes is by Shakespeare, and it's, things are neither good nor bad, but thinking makes them so. So I'm like, you are deciding that because I'm not calling you every day, that means I don't love you. Do you really think that I don't love you? Like, if I call you once a week, does that mean that I love you less? You're prescribing value to me calling you as our love. You can just simply prescribe the fact that I love you to that, or any other act that I'm doing for you or with you as me loving you. So there's a huge gap in communication, I think, with my parents, and really credit to my mom for like, you know, she used to be like that, but now I cannot talk to her for 10 days, pick up the phone, and like, it's perfect. Like, we just start the conversation. There's not me her guilt tripping me for not calling or anything like that. So it's a really big shout out to her for understanding that.
It takes a lot for
it took a while. It took years. Dude.
Yeah.
It took years for them to get used to it. And it's the exact, like, right after this, I'm going to hang out with my sister, and like, I put on my calendar, like, spend time with sister, and like, that starts at 11 o'clock today. Like, so like, you know, and I invited like my girlfriend in that invite. So it's, but the thing that I try to explain to them is, I try to explain, like, this, doing it this way, Ubers to the airport instead of me doing it, allows me to spend more quality time with you than I would, like, if I wasn't. It takes away the resentment part of it. And on top of it, it allows me to serve you financially if there is something, which there has been in both of my parents' lives, instances that they needed immediate cash, and I was able to serve them, like, by sending it same day. And that was because I did this. And so in the very beginning, to your credit, trying to convince them. And then I just kind of go back to that solo art of not giving a fuck. I'm like, you know what? In my heart of hearts, I have unconditional love for both of my parents. I hold nothing against them. If they don't understand it from my point of view, that's really their problem, and that's not mine. And I will not let them make me feel bad about that. And in all transparency, that has led to a rockier relationship with my father, because like, he's like me, he's really like stubborn and hard-headed around it. But you know, I just am not going to accept that in my life. I've raised the levels of standards. And so like, this is who I am. Like, if that person is prescribing that I love them less because of this thing here, there's no way I'll ever be able to change that. I can try, and I have tried, but then at some point you just got to realize that, like, all right, this is how this person sees it. And if that's how they want to be, then that's how they want to be. And I can put my energy towards the people that do understand it and serve them at a higher level.
Dude, I love that you opened up on that, because like, I for me, it's definitely a struggle. I'd say, like, even with all the client problems, people problems, money problems, whatever the fuck it is, right? Running a business of this size, all those things, and wife, baby, all of it, don't cause me an actual amount of stress. Like, sure, we work hard sometimes, and like, there are shitty days or shitty calls or whatever the case is, but like, on a holistic level of life, they don't cause me like stress that like bothers me or like takes up headspace in any way. On the other hand, like, my mother does sometimes because of things like this. Like, I haven't talked to her. I haven't called her, not talked to her. I text her like once a day, once every 2 days, whatever it is. Hey, how are you? Checking in on you. Great. But I call her like once a week, let's say, or now it's been a week. I know if I call her, the first 120 seconds
it's going to be her telling you
why I didn't call her.
That my dad
And
is
I'm
the
like-
exact same way. There's a great book. Obviously, you know, How to Win Friends and Influence People by
Yeah,
Dale
yeah.
Carnegie. He says, do you know why dogs are humans' best friends? It's because every time you see them, they're fucking so excited to see you, and they wag their tail.
That makes sense.
And I try to explain to my dad that, like, the reason, so dude, it's, you and I have so many similarities. It's so funny. But the reason why I don't call my dad, let's say I'm crazy busy, I'm heads down, and I don't talk to him for 3 days. Then I know that if I pick up the phone and call him, the first 5 minutes are going to be about why I need to call him more.
And it makes you want to call
And
him
it makes
less.
you not want to call him. So then you wait a few more days. And you're like, fuck, it's been 7 days now. And then it's been a month. And you're like, in your mind, it's like growing and growing and growing. And that's why I said the thing about my mom, because I could not talk to my mom for 30 days. And then I pick up the phone. And because I told her that, and she actually understood it. And instead now she's like, super like, hi honey, how are you? And we're just like straight to the good stuff. And like with my dad, like, you know,
And if there's bad stuff to talk about, let's talk about it. But let's not make the bad stuff us not
tripping.
talking.
Us not talking.
The stupidest shit. Like if you're going through some shit personally, like
let's
I'd
talk
rather
about
you
it.
just start talking about that. But like I'll make an effort because the most convenient time for me to call my parents is when I'm driving.
Yeah.
Like it's like to work. Okay, I got 7 minutes to get there. Let me call my mom. Good morning. How's everything? And I do that, and I'll start. Honey, like, why don't you ever call me? Like, you know, I'm your mom. Like, you should be I'm like, holy fuck, good morning. How are you?
Like, and that's just a hard way. And honestly, I'll share something I've never shared on a podcast before. But I haven't spoken to my dad in over a year. So
Really?
yeah, so it's like gotten to a really big divide. And like I said, I love him unconditionally with all of my heart. But like that sort of, whenever I speak with you, my cortisol levels rise, and like I feel like a terrible person when I know internally I'm not a bad person. Like, and I have like nightmares and dreams about him. Like, it's like a very weird relationship. But for me, I know that I love him so much and I accept him, but I just can't. I'm at a point in my life where I have such a good, like, such a strong vision, and such, like, I am able to serve and help employees, clients, family members that I am able to talk to, friends, like I'm able to serve them. And so I can't have this person in my life like holding me down and making me feel bad, because then it impacts everything else that I'm doing. And so, like, you know, I'm not ashamed of it. I don't talk about it because I'm ashamed. I'm talking about it because I don't want him to be upset. But I have no idea if he even listens to my podcast. But the point of it being that, yeah, I have it for that exact reason that we're talking about here, going back to the day, the week, the month, and then like, you know, I texted him and I was like, I'd love to have a conversation with you, but I don't want to start the conversation with how I haven't talked to you in a year. And like, you know, I never heard back from him. So anyway, all that to be said, that it's really difficult. And I think that this is the shit that people don't talk about. Well, going back to the lawyer thing and like how you need to talk to people that you like, you want to be an entrepreneur, get ready to fucking have your family probably not understand what you're doing, and get ready, especially if you come from, at least in our example, I won't group everybody, in an immigrant family, like, you know, like you're supposed to be beholden to your parents. And to tie this all together to what we talked about in the very beginning, I learned a lot from my parents, and I'm eternally grateful. And I am who I am because of my dad. He's an unbelievable person, and I literally have so much respect for him. And my mom tells me all the time, I'm a lot like my dad. But one of the things that I have learned is that, like, I know who the type of person that I want to be, and I also know the type of people that I don't want in my life. And I'm able to kind of identify that earlier on, and like that strives and makes the decisions for me every single day now. And so, like, if somebody doesn't raise that level of standards, then essentially at this point in my life, I cut them out of my life. And they're welcome to come back in anytime that they want to do it. But I can't have that energy sucking me out when I know that there's other people that I should be serving at a higher level.
And your parents aren't doing it from a malicious
No,
standpoint.
not at any point.
They're doing it, and I don't mean this in a rude way, out of an ignorant standpoint, of just not understanding that frame of
I think also it's like, typically people are not taught the time management side of life. Like, I know so many friends that if they could just get their shit together on a calendar, if they could figure out how to manage their time better, they could be doing so much more with their life, but they haven't wrapped their brain around like how to actually be efficient with the time they have. Because people think like, oh, I've got a whole day to do this. No, bro, you have like 2 hours actually, because you're going to go to the gym, you're going to go to work, you're going to do these things. And then you've got that little sliver of free time that you still have. And if you aren't knocking out the like actual needle movers, like you're not getting shit done.
I think the other thing I think when you said the ignorance thing, that's like such the thing that it is. And it's also not their fault, because like they were raised in this world.
They were in a world without internet.
Yeah.
Without calendars, without phones.
My dad still watches Fox like news every first thing he wakes up in the morning and watches the news.
My mom has notifications of news on her phone,
and like they get all these terrible
It's just
things.
shootings, and like I'm like, dude, why do you do this to yourself?
And I try to tell so my dad gifts me, like when I lived with him when I was doing the chemo and radiation, he would gift me all these personal development books all the time, and like then I would be like, you know, you should read some of these books as well, you know, and like he never did read any of them, and he built a multiple 8-figure a year company, so he's an incredibly successful and smart guy. But I don't think that personal development in our parents' lives were like as strong as it is now. And like in my personal opinion, I think that, and I've never been a parent, so like I'm not going to assume I know what being a parent is like, but I will say that like because you birth someone, I think that there is this misnomer that person owes you everything from the rest of their life. They owe you everything. And I'm not a parent, so this could change later on in the road. But I don't want to be that parent. I would rather just like, you know, the cheesy sign is rent's due every day. Like, I think the same thing is for relationships. Like, if you're not investing in that relationship every single day, then don't expect it to be growing and I think that what I see, at least with my parents, and no longer my mom, and I hope in the future, not my dad, but it's like, I created you, and so for the rest of the life, I'm always right, you owe me, and that's how it needs to be. And I don't want to be that father to my parents. I'd rather want my kids to serve me, because I'm going back to the law of reciprocity. I'm serving them not necessarily financially, but I'm serving them and investing in that relationship every single day.
What was that quote you said from Shakespeare? Because that one hit, but
I literally
it didn't stick all the way.
I wrote it down every day for 5 years now. It's things are neither good nor bad, but thinking makes them so. So I write that down first thing every single morning, because you can literally just like yesterday when I came here, a bunch of
perception is reality.
Exactly. That's pretty much the simplest way to put it. It's just like you are prescribing any meaning to everything that's happening in your life. You are prescribing it. And so what I try to tell people, and the other thing is that people also tie my old identity to who I am now. Even like my sister, who I'm seeing in a little bit, we've become so much better at it now. But like, she used to kind of treat me in my old identity, and it's difficult because like, she's like, oh, you're getting so upset about this. I'm like, oh, I don't really get upset anymore. Like, because I'll get frustrated maybe in a moment, but like upset and angry, I used to be a very angry person, but I really am no longer, because I'm just prescribing meaning to that anger.
Is it logic that stops you from being angry?
It's literally that. It's essentially logic, I guess, if you want to call it. It's like I get angry for a moment, and then immediately, because I have brainwashed myself with that affirmation every single day, I immediately think like, I am choosing to be upset about this right now. And I'm a huge fan of the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius. Like, I'm a big fan of all that stuff. So like, I kind of brainwash myself with that kind of content. And so I'm not saying I don't get angry. I'm saying I'll get angry immediately, and then because that's just emotions, and that's a knee-jerk reaction, and then that's my subconscious speaking, and then my conscious mind will take into gear and be like, why are you actually upset? Like yesterday, I came in, I was trying to come down to your thing, and I was in a rush, and I was like sweating, and I come upstairs to take a shower. I opened my toiletry bag, my lotion had exploded all in my toiletry bag, and I was like, immediately I was just like, fuck. Like in my room, I was like so upset. And then I was like, look, I was like, all right, I'm letting this, like, how fucking dumb is it that I'm letting this exploded lotion? So I'm like, all right, whatever. I call the front desk. I'm like, hey, can you send up a new blah, blah, blah? And they send somebody up. I take a shower, and it's all Gucci. I come down there in time. Like, but my knee-jerk reaction, like, my girlfriend was scared in the room because I literally just yelled, fuck, so loud. So I'm not saying I never get angry. I'm just saying that, like,
but you don't let it ruin
the entire rest of the day or the next hour.
I was supposed to go to Toronto and fly directly there. We called the airlines, we called the actual immigration, we called the airport, we called everyone, and everyone said newborns can fly in on a birth certificate, like they don't need a passport. Sure enough, we showed up to the airport, $4,000 flight to fucking Toronto, busiest time of the year for both of us, and they fucking deny us at the gate. They don't even let us like get to TSA. Meanwhile, like, my wife's like, fuck, like, I can't believe this happened. No way. We called immediately. This is just how I think. And like, Andrew can probably attest to this from work. I'm like, okay, what are solutions? Immediately, assistant. Hey, search which one's closer, Detroit or Buffalo to drive to Toronto. When's the soonest flight? I need it booked ASAP, first class, me and Terry. Let me know when it is. Let me know which airport I need to be at. Let me know if I need to move parking. This is the order of events, A, B, C, D. If not this and that, if not this and that, if not that, this and that, go. You know what I mean? I'm like,
took care of all of it.
Why the fuck am I waiting? What if the flight is in an hour?
Yeah.
Like, what if I miss it because I'm like sitting here fucking moping? We got on a flight to Buffalo.
I love it.
We went through fucking Mission Impossible.
It was a whole day.
But like, my wife was like, why don't we just go home and like get a flight for I'm like, we are here and we are fucking, I will not sleep until I'm in Toronto.
That's what makes you an entrepreneur though. That viewing it that way, you saw a problem and then you saw the opportunity to solve the problem.
Why am I going to mope about it? What's it going to help me get to the solution?
I'll give you another good one. Also, I don't think I've ever talked about this before, but in 2022, I lost a few $1 million to an investment I had a lot of crypto on the platform Celcius. I don't know if you heard what happened with Celcius.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So it was a whole Ponzi scheme. Nobody had any fucking idea. And I had millions of dollars on there. And they froze all the assets, and I'll probably take like a 60 to a 70% haircut on all of my assets on there. That day was probably one of the worst days of my life when they froze it, and I realized that because if you know how hard you work to make money and then you have after tax money that you invest in something and you lose that, that's like 2 times the amount of money that you like.
That's what people don't realize.
Yeah,
it's the after tax money.
It's like it's not
like I didn't spend $10,000. I spent 20 because it took me 20 to make this fucking 10.
So that was probably one of the worst days of my life, and that was because it's so cheesy and easy to be like things are neither good nor bad, but it's when it actually fucking happens and you lose millions of dollars that I was literally like, all right, let me fucking figure out how do I learn from this? And that day I created something I called Ravi's Rules, and it's Ravi's Rules of Investing. And so now I have Ravi's Rules of Investing, and one of them is like, don't have more than 30% of your assets either in one asset class and on one platform. Like, so I wouldn't have all of my stocks on Schwab or all of my money in Chase because FDIC is only $250,000 insured. So like it was in like, so. And I'm just really fortunate enough that obviously, we do well in the business and I'm a young guy. So that shit's not going to put me back. There's people that lost like their life savings when they're 60 years old when that went down. So like I'm in a very fortunate position, but still did not suck. But I turned it around. Like that was a great example of me taking, first of all, extreme ownership. Like, honestly, now looking back, there was writing on the wall that this was kind of a Ponzi scheme, but myself along with millions of other people fell for it.
And you're close friends with people in the crypto space.
Exactly. So and people were recommending it to me. But that being said, like I made that decision. It's nobody else. It's not even his fucking fault for being the scumbag that's the Ponzi scheme guy. It's me for falling for it. So it was a great way to practice extreme ownership, and then it was also a great way to practice like things are neither good nor bad. Like, cool, good thing I just did this now on a few $1 million versus in 10 to 20 years when I have tens of millions of dollars that I'm investing, and like then I lose it that way.
But like the real lesson here is the SOP that you made for yourself.
Yeah,
that's the real lesson.
You're not wrong. It's like the Ravi's Rules.
How do I not have this happen again?
Ever again.
Yeah, and draw that framework into it. And so many people don't do that shit, bro.
They just mope.
They just mope.
And then like 2 years later, they make the same fucking mistake again.
I was like, I'll never let this happen. And I've been presented with opportunities to invest, like even recently, and I go through the Ravi's Rules and I'm looking at it and I'm like, actually, no, that would put my crypto allocation of my assets above 30%. So I'm just not going to do it. Like I didn't have a diversified portfolio. I was like drinking the crypto fucking juice, and I'm still really bullish on crypto. But this is not like my Bitcoin went down. This is like my money is frozen on an account that I can literally not access.
I can't access.
I have no way to
and it taught you the rule of not keeping it on the one place,
on the one platform,
and also even just like the whole self custody thing. It's like it's more convenient to have it on a platform,
and you're earning interest from it. And it also caused, one of the rules is like question why something is this good. And like looking back, it's like, oh yeah, he's giving fucking up to 17% back on people's crypto, like because he was technically lending it out to institutional lenders. No, he's running a Ponzi scheme where he's giving you 17% back, just like Bernie Madoff, just by getting somebody else coming in and convincing them to do it. And that's like the game that they were playing. And I guess nothing's proven in court yet, so this is all alleged. I don't want to fucking get sued by Celcius, so this is all alleged. But the point of it being that I also learned, like, okay, also question if someone's telling you, oh, you can invest in this crypto and you'll be a millionaire tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, and I consider myself a decently sophisticated guy. And so it wasn't that extreme, but I still was sucked into some of the hype. And the funny story is one of my good friends runs a crypto hedge fund. I was kind of explaining to him the actual real reason why it happens, going back to efficiency and simplicity. Before, I had like 7 crypto wallets across all these different platforms, and I was forgetting my I was like logging into all of them. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just consolidate it all on one platform. So I only have one platform and I could just log in and out of that. And so I had my self-custody, and then I had that. So I moved I was in the process of moving like 50% of my assets on crypto onto that platform. So I only had one login to do. And of course, that's the fucking platform that gets shut down. You know what I mean? So like I did it for going back to that efficiency standpoint. I did it to keep it simple, but it was all an amazing lesson. And like it was in that I let myself moan for a day and be like, that was what my girlfriend was there.
That's more than fair, bro.
Yeah, I was upset, bro, because like you said, it's the after tax money. Like, you know what I mean? It's the after, that's like years of my life that I put towards it. But it was an amazing lesson, and I'm grateful that I learned it at an early age versus like some of these people who literally learned it at 65.
That's the only way to think about it, bro. It's like at least now, not later.
If not, I'll fucking jump off this hotel right now.
Dude, for sure. My family, I've told this story I think on a podcast before, but my family got screwed over by their financial advisor, and he was a guy from the church. Like, he was super, like, there was no reason to not trust this guy. He worked with tons of our family friends, and he's wanted by the FBI.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy, actually. It's public. Like, Chris Burns is the guy's name. You can look it up. He's on the FBI's most wanted list right now. They still haven't found this guy, but he literally was a lot of my family's savings was like taken by
my
this
God.
He took life savings. He managed them.
my grandma's
and then
life
took them
savings.
all away.
Oh,
Literally,
bro,
so
that's
all the
fucking
shit.
tough.
And I remember like sitting there and luckily, you know, obviously it affected me, of course. And I even had money invested with him, but it was only like, you know, $3,000. Like it wasn't like I lost my life savings, and not that my life savings up to that point was anything insane.
Sure.
But I remember looking at that and being like, damn, like I can never let this happen. And my parents, like the reason why they got this guy was it was just like, hey, we don't know what to do with our money. We're, you know, let's entrust it. And it just taught me that lesson. I'm like, I need to become financially literate so that I don't have to put my trust in a third
In
party
somebody
for this
else,
type of
yeah.
stuff. I need to figure my shit out, even though I didn't really care to, or I wasn't that you know, excited about the idea of it. I realized like the importance of it, because I'm like, I cannot let this shit happen.
I realized it this year, and this is the last thing, and we'll close this out. Something to think about as we talk. We close this out with what we call fortune cookie advice.
Okay.
Like if you could go back, like in this case, maybe like 6-7 years, and give someone of that age one piece of advice that would like carry on for their life and affect it in a very positive way and move in a different direction, what that would be. But this year we invested in a crypto coin together the last 12 months. And I was net positive $6 million at one point in this coin. And
with a what, $10,000 investment?
no,
Holy shit.
no,
Oh,
it wasn't
okay.
that big. It was with 180K investment.
Oh, okay.
Still fucking
Still nuts.
We're like, oh, okay, 30x, not that serious. But yeah, so it was like $6.5 million, and how I invested in it, because it was so difficult. And I'm, again, back to efficiency. I'm like, you know what? I'd honestly rather give someone 10% off the top and go like
Take care
figure
of all
out
of
how
it.
to get from this wallet to that. It's
Yeah,
like,
you're probably doing the MetaMask. All the
exactly.
other bullshit.
I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. It's not my thing, and it's a distraction to me moving and generating more income for myself. I'd rather it be passive and give this person 10%. Problem was, this person, because their wallet got so big between mine and theirs, there were eyes on this person's wallet, and so there's a lot of sensitivity to selling my stuff, and we started going into like a headbutt in a way. And he's still a close friend of mine. But I was like, hey, sell it all. Like, I don't like fuck it, I'm done, bro. Like, I got 6 million out of 180. Like, I don't need to hope it goes to 50.
Yeah.
I'm good, bro. Like, this is fucking plenty of money, and like half of it low key probably not going to be claimed in any way. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, do that. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't sell. Went back and forth. Went down to 4 million. I'm like, hey, please sell. Like, okay, no, we're not going to do it because we can't. Everyone's watching me. Boom, 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 boom. Shit went down all the way to like 500 grand. And I was like, listen, bro, like, I need this money right now. Out like 100%.
Crazy.
And it wouldn't happen. So he gave me like, he's like, okay, I'll sell it to someone else, so it's not sold from my wallet, it's transferred, but he'll take, he wants 10% discount, and we'll sell 250K. I was like, cool, take it, whatever the fuck I can get. Got that, great. So now there's another 250. It drops down to like 170, and I'm like, Andrew, I'm just gonna tell him to fucking send me this shit. I do not know how to fucking transfer it, MetaMask to this coin to that coin. I need your fucking help. I'll give you a few grand. Please just fucking help me out. Because he had done it all self, by himself. I moved that shit to his wallet, and that's the only reason I got out. And he's like, dude, thank God you did, bro. That shit dropped like another 10x from the point that we sold at. But fuck, that was a lesson. I was like, I will never, ever, 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 Eddie's rules. Never
It's not as illiterate as Ravi's rules, but it's good. It's good.
But I will not let someone fucking ever invest my money into shit like that again, because like I opportunity cost $6 million
and opportunity cost of how much time, energy, and mental bandwidth that took up in your entire life while that was all going down,
bro. Stressing me
and
the
you're
fuck
like,
out.
bro,
I'm
this
like,
is
bro,
my
why can't
fucking
we
money.
sell?
Give me my
That's
money,
my thing,
and
bro.
you're
It's my
stressed
money.
out.
Take your percentage off the top, but give me my fucking money, bro. So with that being said, thank you for being on this fucking podcast. I'd love to hear the one piece of fortune cookie advice. It doesn't have to fit in a fortune cookie. We've had some long ones, so but I'd love to see what you got.
Dude, I don't know. I think it might be cheesy, but going back to the saying, things are neither good nor bad, but thinking makes it applies to every single thing in your life. And like, even if I always tell people this, even if I had been a lawyer, everything would have worked out exactly the way it was supposed to. Like I would have been a kick-ass lawyer.
You've been mega
I
successful.
would have been fucking super successful.
Probably
like,
running ads.
Like, because it's not, because it has nothing to do with the profession. Like, there's vehicles for sure. Like everyone's like, oh, should I be an agency? Should I do drop shipping? Should I go to 9 to 5? Should I be a business owner? It's like, there's just, some vehicles are better than the other. But in the end, there's not one vehicle that's going to make you happier than the other. It's in the end, happiness is how you are perceiving life. You can be happy in a fucking totally piece of shit house in a shitty environment. And so I think that what people don't realize is that all the power they need for happiness, and not even happiness, Naval Ravikant says, happiness is peace, is the verb version of peace, happiness is peace in action. And so, but peace, right? If you really want peace, you have to understand that you're prescribing meaning to every single thing that happens in your life. And the sooner you realize that, and the sooner that you detach yourself from the outcomes of things, ironically enough, the more abundant the universe becomes, and the more the universe starts bringing your way.
I love that. You know, you made me think of like I'm a big analogy guy, by the way. This is how I communicate. And everyone's always like, it just makes it so much easier to like put it in a term that people understand. They're like, that makes so much sense when you put it that way. You know what I mean? But like, if you're driving on life is not a straight line, right? It's like left, right, ups, downs, like all this shit. But if you had two cars driving side by side, one was like a performance car, let's take a Ferrari, the other was a Camry. The driver of the Ferrari is absolute dog shit, and the Camry driver's fucking controlling his own shit, like you're saying, right? It all comes from within. I'm putting my money on the fucking Camry driver at the end of the day to navigate these turns and get to the end line before the fucking guy with the Ferrari, just because the vehicle is better. Doesn't really matter, right? Like you're saying, you could be in a worse vehicle, you would still have the fucking success that you have.
Exactly.
Because of who's driving that car.
100%.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate you coming on. What's the best way for people to connect with you? I know your YouTube is a really good resource. You know, where can they find your company? Where can they work with you? I'm sure some people are interested.
Yeah, man. First of all, I appreciate you guys having me on. Absolute blast. Thanks for having me at the event, dude. Had an awesome time. And connected with some really amazing people. And I really respect you guys for having me here. As far as reaching me, you can go anywhere on the online platforms. My first and last name, Ravi Abuvala, RaviAbuvala. Like Eddie was saying, my YouTube, that's like our main one that we put a lot of time, energy, and effort. And then if you are somebody that's looking to grow your business, we guarantee growth. You can just go to scalingwithsystems.com and you can learn more and then apply on that page if you want to.
Love it, bro. Thank you so much for coming out. Appreciate and safe travels back home.
Thanks, my man.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the 4Media Uncut podcast. If you want to work with us, learn with us, or even join the team and be a part of what we're doing at 4Media Marketing, just go to our website. It's 4media.marketing. No .com, no .net, .marketing, because that's all we do around here. And most importantly, share this with a friend wherever you're listening to or watching this on. Please hit that share button, send it over to a friend, someone else that you think will get value out of this. It would mean the world to us.
And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like this video and comment down below any suggestions for future guests. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please rate this 5 stars and leave us a review there. That helps us tremendously in the algorithm world. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of 4Media Uncut Podcast.